Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we just got some new Mimighoul cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out these awesome new cards. So we're actually getting some more Mimighoul cards in Rage of the Abyss, and Konami just did an amazing thing and gave us a sneak peek in the form of a live stream for the new Rage of the Abyss set, where they announced these new Mimighoul cards, and they're absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the new Mimighoul cards we're getting in Rage of the Abyss. So first off, we have an awesome new main deck monster called Mimighoul Armor, which the chest on Mimighoul Armor is actually the same one on Mimighoul Maker. But this card absolutely looks phenomenal, and I'm really excited for it. So this card actually is a level 1 Earth Warrior flip effect monster with 600 attack points and 1500 defense points. This card has a flip effect that if it is in the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. This turn, Mimighoul monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, which is a pretty cool effect just to give you a blanket protection, almost like an armor for your Mimighoul monsters. Also, just like all the other Mimighoul monsters, you give control of this card to your opponent, meaning since your opponent is going to control it when it's flipped face up, it makes it so Mimighouls can't be destroyed by battle, and then we get our Mimighoul back, just like all the other Mimighouls. But this card actually introduces a really interesting new effect that a lot of the Mimighoul monsters are actually going to share. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in face down defense position, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card face up on your field, basically making this new wave a wave full of extenders, which is amazing because we have some new XZ monsters for the Mimighoul cards. So for the next card, by the way, I do think this card is actually going to be a 3 of in Mimighoul. It's really, really good. We then have Mimighoul Fairy. Mimighoul Fairy is really good for the deck as well, and this card is actually really interesting. This card's like a floodgate-like monster as well. So Mimighoul Fairy is a level 1 Earth Fairy flip effect monster with 100 attack and 100 defense, and it has the flip effect that if it's the main phase, you apply these effects in sequence. This turn, you cannot activate the effects of monsters special summoned from the hand, basically locking down your opponent's effects for monsters that are special summoned from the hand. This card is really interesting and could be a game ender depending on what you're playing against, especially if you're playing against a deck like Kashtira. You could really see a deck like that just completely go down to this awesome new Mimighoul card because it's just going to lock down the effects of monsters. This card is really good overall. Also shares the effect just like your copy of Armor. You give control of this card to your opponent, meaning we get our Mimighoul back, just like all the other Mimighoul monsters, and during the main phase, you can special summon this card to your opponent's field and face down defense, or if you control a Mimighoul monster, you can special summon this card face up to your field, again, making this card a great extender. This card might be a 1 to 2 of in the deck, but it's really good overall to basically just lock down your opponent. We then have Mimighoul Slime. Mimighoul Slime is amazing. This card is really good. This card helps you just get more Mimighouls on your side of the field. And overall, it's actually now one of my favorite Mimighouls because of the artwork. It's just really cool to actually see a slime in the Mimighoul cards because they're all based on mimics, which is nice. So this card actually is a level 1 Earth Aqua flip effect monster. I really wish it was level 2. I wish they were all level 2 so we can incorporate Sprite and Totally Awesome into this, but hey, I get it. Okay, so its attack is 400, its defense is 500, so it's not very large, but it has the ability, if it's flip face up, your opponent can special summon a Mimighoul monster from their deck in to their side of the field, which is great to instantly give us another Mimighoul that we want on our side of the field. This card is definitely a 3 of, and probably the most powerful of the 3 new Mimighoul cards, because this card is just going to instantly give you a Mimighoul on your side of the field. This card is definitely a 3 of. Fairy might be a 1 of, maybe, and the Armor might be a 2 to 3 of, just because it's a great extender, but this card, best card that we got. Best card that we got out of all the new main deck monsters. Also, this card has the ability during your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field and face down defense, or if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, which they probably will, you can special summon this card and face up to your side of the field, which is great just to get us an additional monster on our side of the field. This card is great. This card is so good for the deck. Plus, it does share the ability that you just gain control of it when it's flip face up, which is really nice. We then have the new main boss monster, which Konami quoted that this card is actually a game ender, which I do agree. This card is the game ender of Mimighoul, which Mimighoul really needed a game ender. Like, it didn't have a game ender. Like, you had to incorporate the cashier cards into it to give you a game ending like play, but this card actually gives us a great game ending play, and it's awesome. I love the artwork of it, like the skeletal hand like reaching out of the mimic chest. It looks awesome. Like, it looks really, really good. So, this card is amazing for an XZ monster. This card has the ability to say rank 1, Earth, Rock, XZ effect monster with 1300 attack and 2000 defense points. Meaning, with Dungeon, this card is going to go up to like 33. Like, that's really good. Also, this card has the ability to take 2 materials that are level 1 monsters. And it's actually generic, so you can actually use any like level 2 or level 1 monsters to make this card, 2 level 1 monsters to make it. Your non-Mimighoul monsters can attack directly while your opponent controls a face-down monster. Meaning, if they control a face-down monster, like we hand them a Mimighoul monster, all of our Mimighoul monsters can attack directly, which is insane to think that all of our Mimighouls are just going to be swinging directly, especially with Dungeon's boost. It's just going to make them huge to help us OTK the opponent. And this card is really good as a game ender. Also, this card has the ability, if this card is XZ summon, you can add a Mimighoul card from your deck to your hand. That means this card is not only a game ender, but it's also a starter for the deck as well. So this card is great to be able to play as a combo piece, probably as a 2 of, one to play in the beginning of your combo, to be able to get a search, and then one to end the game to be able to have them all attack directly. So this card is at least bare minimum a 2 of, maybe a 3 of. Also, you can detach a material from this card, then target face-up cards on the field up to the number of face-down monsters that your opponent controls and destroy them, and if you inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. That is so good. And this card can just pop multiple cards on the field, do burn damage, let all your Mimighouls attack directly, and it's a searcher. Like, this card is so good for the archetype. And it finally has a really good extract boss monster, and this card really is the boss monster in Mimighoul. Mimighoul Master is a great combo piece, don't get me wrong. But this is the secret boss monster. This is the secret final fight inside the deck. This card is really good. Okay, so there's like the secret boss of the dungeon. We then also have Mimighoul Throne. Okay, if you notice, this is actually the crown and the staff of Mimighoul Maker or Master, which is really cool that you actually have Mimighoul Master's like throne. Like, this is really cool. But this card is actually kind of like an equip card, which is nice. It's a level 1 Earth Rock XZ effect monster with 0 attack and 1,000 defense, and takes 2 level 1 Mimighoul monsters to make this card. It's pretty easy to do, especially with all the new cards being extenders. That's really easy to establish on your side of the field, just to summon out your extenders, normal summon out like a dragon, go for full combo. This card has the ability, you can detach material in this card to special summon a Mimighoul Master from your hand, deck, or graveyard, meaning you're probably only going to have to play 1 or 2 Master now, because you probably were already playing like 1 or 2 Master, but it's still really good because this card is actually going to help you make your copy of Mimighoul Master a main deck boss monster, because this card also has the ability that during the main phase, quick effect, you can target a Mimighoul Master you control and equip this card as an equip spell that gives it 1,000 attack points. Then you can return cards on the field back to the hand up to the number of materials this card had, which is probably gonna have like 1 material after you detach. So it's going to give you a bounce, and it's going to give Mimighoul Master on your field, and it's going to give it an additional 1,000 attack points, which is going to make it huge with your copy of Dungeon, which is just going to be insane. But you can only use 1 of this card's effect per turn, and only once that turn, which is a little bit of a downside. So what you're going to have to do is summon this card out, summon out Mimighoul Master, and then once you summon out Mimighoul Master during the opponent's turn, since it says during the main phase, quick effect, you just target your copy of Mimighoul Master and equip it to that monster, and then it gives it a bounce. But since it's a quick effect, it is really cool that you can actually use it during the opponent's turn to be able to equip this card to your copy of your Mimighoul Master, just to basically give it an additional 1,000 and give you a bounce. So you're going to want to establish Mimighoul Master as quickly as possible, getting you 2 Mimighouls to summon this card out to your side of the field, so you can basically go full combo. This card's amazing for the deck, though. This card is really good. Probably like a 1 of, probably like a 2 of, maybe. It's not quite as good as this one. Like, Giant Mimighoul is the way to go, but I still feel like this card is good as basically like a we're gonna push for game kind of card, and it still has a place in the deck. Like, you still need this card. We then have Mimighoul Fork. Okay, and again, quoting Konami, This card is literally like a Destiny draw. This card is literally a Destiny draw. It has the ability to target a face-down monster your opponent controls, which remember, we're handing our opponent Mimighoul monsters, so we're going to be able to target one of the Mimighoul monsters we set to the field, and then your opponent chooses one of the following effects, and you apply the effect. Either they change that monster to face-up attack or defense position, or you send it to the graveyard and the owner draws 2 cards, meaning we get a draw 2, or we get to flip the Mimighoul and gain its effect. This is really neat overall and fantastic. And also this card is really neat because you can banish this card from the graveyard, add a Mimighoul fork, another copy of this card from your deck to your hand, and you can only use each effects card once per turn. So basically, I really wish this was a quick play spell. It'd be insane if it was a quick play spell, but you can either take the trap or the trap. You can either take trap. You can't avoid it. Like, this card is really good overall because it's just going to help you like flip your Mimighouls and push the game forward, push the game state forward. And also it's basically a draw 2, which is going to basically Destiny draws into more cards, which could be really good for our opponent or really bad. I don't know which one's better. It kind of depends on which Mimighoul you have set, but overall, really good card, really fantastic card. It's either going to give us our monster back and give us a bonus effect, or it's going to give us a draw too. There's no downside to this. Like, there's literally no downside. I really feel like this card could combo really well with Magician Souls though, because you could special summon Magician Souls as the level 1 and then send this to the graveyard and then banish it to help us be able to basically just search another copy of it. So it's a free draw regardless with Magician Souls. Then you can activate another one and flip one of the monsters. So it gives us a monster already with Magician Souls that we can send Illusion of Chaos to the graveyard and then basically get a free draw. So if you have this in your copy of Magician Souls, you're already guaranteed a free draw. That's really nice. That's really good. And overall, a fantastic combo in the deck, because then you can step into something like Giant Mimighoul just for a normal summon. That's really good. Or you can step into Mimighoul Throne if you feel like you need Mimighoul Throne as a reaction disruption. That's really good. Overall, I really like this card. I feel like this card is definitely going to be a 3-of in the deck. We then also have Mimighoul Charm. I want to like this card, but it feels really weird, and I don't feel like it's fair. Like, I don't feel like this card is very fair, because I don't feel like any card that looks at your opponent's extra deck and like takes a card out of it is fair, because it disrupts the integrity of the game, in my opinion. So what this does is, once per chain, during the main phase, if a Mimighoul monster your opponent controls is flipped face up, you randomly choose a face down card in your opponent's extra deck, and if it's a monster that can be special summon it to your field, but it cannot activate its effects this turn, and if it wasn't, or it couldn't be special summoned, banish that card. And you can use this effect up to twice per turn, which is pretty good to be able to use this card up to twice per turn to basically just start ripping your opponent's extra deck. And if you combine this card with something like a Cashier Unicorn, you're going to get some really insane plays that you're going to be able to rip like up to 3 cards out of your opponent's extra deck. Again, don't think that's fair. I really think Mimighoul with this wave of support could be really insane and be a really good rogue deck. Even maybe tier 1. Like, I mean, maybe not tier 1, but like, depending on how this deck goes, if we keep getting support for this and OCG gets a hold of this and we get some more Mimighouls, this deck really could be a tier 1 strategy, which is insane. And I'd love to see that. I think it'd be really cool. But overall, fantastic support. Going over these cards really quickly with you guys, I feel like armor is probably like 2 to 3 of. I feel like it's a 2 to 3 of because it's such a good extender and it helps you from being destroyed by battle, which is really going to help you out a lot overall. I feel like Fairy's a 1 of. I really feel like Fairy's a 1 of because it's just a great floodgate. You floodgate depending on what you go up against. Because this isn't going to work against everybody. This is just not going to work up against every deck. Slime, 3 of. 3 of. Instantaneously 3 of. This card gives you a Mimighoul monster. Giant Mimighoul, probably 2 to 3 of, because it's a great game ender. It's also a great starter. It's really good. Does burn damage. You could win just on the burn damage. Throne, 1 of. 1 of, maybe 2. Probably 1. Probably 1. Probably 1. Fork, 3. Definitely 3. Charm, 2 of. Maybe 1 to 2. 1 to 2 of. I don't know. It doesn't really do anything until we give our opponent Mimighouls. I feel like this is like 2 of. I feel like it's okay. But we do have a secret rare slot in this card. We do have a secret rare slot also taken up by Giant Mimighoul, so that's totally fine. I feel like this is really going to be fun. I really feel like this is going to be a lot of fun to be able to play Mimighouls, and I'm looking forward to it. I really think Mimighouls are going to be a lot of fun. I really like the first wave of support. and it was really good in the first wave of support. It wasn't a Tistina. It wasn't Tistina. And it wasn't one of the other like TCG archetypes like Gold Pride. It was just good. Like it was just really good right out of the gate and was able to compete. But I feel like this is really interesting to like actually see more support for it and them giving this deck more love, because TCG archetypes are famously bad, except for like Cosmo and Burning Abyss and stuff like that. Like those are like two of the really good ones. But this is good. This is really good support. So that's gonna do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment down below what of the Mimighoul support you like the best. I really like the new like Mimighoul, giant Mimighoul. I feel like this is like the best card in the entire archetype now. But that's gonna do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell news so you can become part of notification squad. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.